Minnesota Vikings could be in big trouble tonight if this happens. We'll break it down on today's show. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Vikings Now. My name is Patrick Siepman. Then also on the second half of today's show, a little mailbag. I'll answer questions from all of our loyal fans here on the channel. But before we dive into that, if you guys could, as you guys are seeing this the day of the game, help us reach 39,000 subscribers. We just need 330 more of you guys to hit that sub button. So if you guys haven't already, want to stay up to date around everything around your Minnesota Vikings, please, please, please hit that subscribe button. And if we could hit 39K before kickoff, man, that would be awesome. So hit that sub button, lock us in, and let's dive into it. So the Vikings in trouble if the Lions hangover is real. I've talked about this already, but the Lions hangover is a very, very real thing. So the Lions this season, in their first 4 games, they played the Rams, the Buccaneers, Cardinals, and Seahawks. What did all 4 of these teams do the game after? The Rams in Arizona got smoked, 41-10. The Buccaneers, a very good football team at home, got smoked by the Denver Broncos. The Cardinals, again, against a very good football team in the Washington Commanders, they lost 42-10. And then also the Seattle Seahawks, they lost to the New York Giants at home in a 29-20 loss, where realistically that game should have been a blowout. The Lions hangover is a real thing. But again, if the Vikings are a good football team, they should be able to overcome this. But this is going to be a stat that a bunch of like the Colin Cowherds, Nick Wrights, like all these big media heads, they'll start talking about it, especially if the Vikings lose this Thursday. But number 2 for me, why the Vikings lose this game? You can't stop Kupp or Stafford. This is one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos I have ever seen. And anytime I think about this, yes, this was 3 years ago, but I think about that 2021 season that Cooper Kupp had, where he, in my opinion, this is the best wide receiver year of all time. 1,900 yards, 13.4 yards per catch, 16 touchdowns, and he won Super Bowl MVP that season. These two have a ridiculous connection. I mean, 2021, Stafford lit it up. And even last year with the Rams having a rough start in 23, he was still able to have 24 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. These two are one of the best duos in the NFL. I don't care that the Rams have started off 2-4. A big reason of that is because Kupp and Akua were both not in the lineup for majority of those games. But these two, they scare me, man, and they're going to keep me up. They're going to keep me up at night thinking about these two dominating that Flores defense. But again, still got confident in the Vikings getting a victory. But number 3 for me, why did the Vikings lose? Ed Ingram plays. He has been the worst right guard in the National Football League. And year after year after year, the Vikings have a huge gash at the right guard spot. And they don't try to stitch it up. They don't try to go, add a first-round pick or go try to trade, for a great right guard. They just try to put a Band-Aid over an open gash. And check out this stat. Right guard Ed Ingram is allowing more pressures per snap than any other 51 qualified guards in the NFL per Pro Football Focus. He has been terrible. And I hate seeing nonsense on Twitter of Vikings fans thinking that Ed Ingram, he'll turn it around eventually. One of these games, he'll get rid of the inconsistencies in his game. Stop that. Go to this guy right here, Dalton Risner. I understand maybe you're having a little bit of a drop-off in the run-blocking department, but this dude is a significantly better pass blocker. And you know what? I'm actually curious on this real quick. Dalton Risner, pass block grade last season, 67.4. Heading into last week, Ed Ingram had a 29 pass block grade, and I guarantee you, it actually went up after last week. Take that back. But 35.8 pass blocking grade. You have a significant drop-off in the pass protection department with Ingram in the lineup. Then we get to this. Losing the turnover battle. I don't know what it is. Anytime the Vikings tie or lose the turnover battle, they just don't win many games. And the famous chat stats that we always have here, we show it every week in our previews. Unfortunately, we did have to add a little 1 next to that 22-0. But the Vikings are now 22-1 when they win or tie the turnover battle under Kevin O'Connell. Still a great stat. I think that really speaks to how good of a coach he is in the National Football League. But I still have the Vikings getting a victory tonight. My score prediction is 20-17, but you guys can also let me know who you got. Give me a V for the Vikings or give me an R for the Rams. I know it says V, but give me an R for the Rams if you think the Rams are going to win, or give me a V for the Vikings. Coming up next here on the show, we're going to answer questions from all of our loyal subscribers here on the channel. But first, I do want to tell you guys about today's sponsor, and that is PrizePicks. If you guys download the PrizePicks app today, Plug in promo code CONS. You guys will get $50 instantly after you play your first dollar lineup. Or your first $5 lineup, excuse me. But PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is the best way to add more juice to whatever football or basketball game you are watching. Anytime I'm watching any big-time sporting event, I am throwing some cash down on PrizePicks, and it makes the viewing experience that much more entertaining. So sign up today. Get $50 instantly when you use promo code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS. And after you put your first $5 lineup, they will give you guys $50 instantly. But shout out to PrizePicks. Run your game. Garrett Russborough coming in, $10 super chat. I appreciate you, man. Saying, I don't see this happening. Talking about the Stafford trade. I think we focus on the defensive side, a DT or a lockdown corner. Question remains, can KO coach up Sam more, or do you think Sam has reached his full potential? Great thought right here from Garrett, loyal subscriber, one of the best football minds we have here on the channel. But I agree with you on the Stafford thing. I don't think it's going to happen. If I had to pick one, trade for Jeffrey Simmons or Matthew Stafford, I'm honestly probably going Stafford. But like a DT or a lockdown corner, I'm probably going defensive tackle over corner. But again, great point here. Question remains, can KO coach up Sam more, or do you think Sam has reached his full potential? I think we're right there. I think he can coach him up a little more, but I don't want fans thinking like as this season goes on, he is just going to get incrementally better. I think that could happen, but I don't think he's ever going to reach the level of a Matthew Stafford, even as good as he can get. I mean, Stafford was the number 1 player in his class, number 1 pick. Like, he's won a Super Bowl. He was awesome with the Lions. He's been awesome with the Rams. Like, anywhere he goes, he's the best quarterback in the NFC, and he is the best quarterback in the NFC right now. But, Garrett, I appreciate you. Roger saying, do you think we have a better chance for a Super Bowl run this year or next year when we have $80+ million to spend? Another great question coming in from one of our loyal subscribers here. Roger, tough one here. I would probably say next year because you're going to add more talent to this roster. But also, Raj, people talk about the $80 million. You don't have a cornerback on this roster next season. Like, Cam Bynum wants an extension. Like, I don't think people are understanding that this $80 million, a lot of it is going to go to corners, to extensions. Like, yes, they could still go bring in a big-time player, but it's not as much as people think. And plus, talking about this year, I wouldn't want to waste a 5-1 start. Like, I think people undervalue that. Like, the Vikings have already gone through the toughest part of the schedule. You have a chance to control home field through the NFC playoffs, and then let's just say the Vikings, rip off another 6 straight wins, and they're 11-1, and then that Week 18 game comes down to the division, like, and you win that game, like, then you're thinking about the Vikings. You just got to win 2 home playoff games, and then you're in the Super Bowl. So I would say this year, but if you have an argument for next year, I don't disagree at all. KJ coming in, do you think Stafford's actually coming, or are we just stuck waiting? And what about the Darnold trade? Any idea when that's finally going down? So I don't think this trade is going to happen. I'll put that out there. I think it's very unlikely, but it does make sense. The Rams are not in a win-now mode. They've already made Cooper Kupp available from Diana Rossini, that they're actually calling teams. Teams aren't calling them. They're being active in shopping him. So I think the Rams understand. Might as well blow it up this season, get some draft capital, get younger at quarterback with Darnold. I don't think he's actually coming, but if he were to and we get that notification, the Vikings are trading for Stafford, like, I would be thrilled. And could you imagine, everybody, NFC Championship weekend, let's just say the Vikings are on the road in Detroit. Could you imagine Matthew Stafford holding the Lions back from reaching the Super Bowl? It would be awesome. But KJ, I appreciate you. Peyton Dub coming in saying, do you think Hockenson will be back this week? And how do you think he will affect/help the offense? Also, this is my first Super Chat to go Vikes. Shout out to you, Peyton. I do think Hawk will be back this week. All the reports are indicating that. However, I don't know if he will be playing the amount of snaps as he normally would. I do think Hawk, they're going to be very patient with him. Kevin O'Connell in every press conference, he always talks about there's a long football season. We got a lot of football left to be played. And I think, O'Connell loves Johnny Munt. He's going to give him some run. So I would probably say he's going to be limited. You know how we say, minute restriction in the NBA. He's probably going to be on a snap count. this week against the Rams, but I fully expect him to play. And then hopefully he's 110% for the Colts game next Sunday night. Roger, say my first move would be for Dex and second MS, but I really don't think either will happen. What do you think is the most likely pickup? I honestly think Matthew Stafford. Also, shout out to you, Roger, $5 super chat. I think Stafford's a lot more likely than Dexter Lawrence. I mean, clearly the Lions view him as a complete kind of cornerstone blue chip piece for this team moving forward. So I'm going to say Stafford's more likely, but I'm also with you. I don't think either of these will happen, but hey, Stafford, man, Dexter Lawrence, we'll be throwing a party here on the channel if that's the case. But Purple and Gold Bars coming in saying hashtag Vikings, between Dex and Simmons, who would be a better fit for cap space? They're about even. Like, their contracts match up pretty well. But, you know, in terms of who's a better fit with the team, I'm going to go Dexter Lawrence. He's just a better player right now. I mean, he has 9 sacks on the season. He's leading the league in sacks. Like, he has been awesome to start this year. But yeah, I would go Dexter Lawrence. He also fits the cap space a little more. And also the timeline of his contract kind of fits the Vikings timeline a little bit better. Again, not a lot, but just a tad better than Jeffrey Simmons. But again, they have about the same, cap hit. But M. Max saying, would you trade Addison and picks to a top-notch defensive player? M. Mac, thank you so much. This is actually something I want to talk about. I'll probably talk about it a little more next week of the Vikings trading Addison. I don't think the Vikings are too thrilled with the performance they have gotten from number 3 this season. And plus, with all the off-the-field issues, like, I could really see Addison getting dealt. I would honestly do that. Like, if it took Addison and a first to go get Dexter Lawrence, sign me up. But again, the Giants probably don't have too much of a need for Addison with Neighbors, Wandell, and, they actually have a decent wide receiver room. But, M-Mac, I appreciate that. We'll talk about that a little bit more on the show later on. But last question coming in from Landon Dibble. Patrick, you think we have a chance at winning against the Rams? We had a good game against the Lions. They were just a bit better. I think we have a good season with this lineup. Yeah, I mean, no doubt we have a good chance to beat the Rams. But again, we talked about the Lions hangover. Like, is that a real thing? Rams are getting healthy. Like, pretty much point being, Landon, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I don't want Vikings fans just looking at the 2-4 record and thinking the Rams are a bad team. They're not. Like, they're a significantly better team, in my opinion, than, like, the New York Jets. Plus, you're traveling on a short week to Los Angeles. There's a reason this spread is only 3.5 points for a team who's 5-1 compared to a team who is, 2-4. But definitely worried about this game. But I got the Vikes winning 20-17. If you guys made it to the end of today's show, give me a skull down below. We will also be going live an hour and 15 minutes before kickoff tonight. So make sure you guys do tune in. Appreciate all of you guys for watching. If you guys want to give me a follow on Twitter, that's the handle right there, @PatSiepes. Give me a follow over there, and I'll give you guys a follow right back. But thank you guys so much for watching today's show. As always, Skol Vikes.